Hi, Internet viewers. Frank Rauscher again. On the last video, we got the beak in shape and the head. The body's in pretty good shape now. It should be symmetrical about the center line, both top and bottom. And we're not worrying about the tail. We got that hogged out. And now what we're going to do on this video is to locate the mantle, and we're going to start putting feathers in, and I'm going to show you. But first we want to get like an outline. We're going to do some measurements initially to get started so that you have a framework to build your feathers inside it. Okay, so if you'll hang in there, I'll show you how to get that down. And the other thing I want to tell you, if anybody is interested in doing this project here of the goldfinch, I have kits available if somebody wants them. They have included in that is the basswood blank, the feet, the eyes, the pattern, everything you need except yourself and some equipment that you would hope you'd have. If you need bits or something like that for taking it down, I do have them available. I even have machinery. If you don't have it and you want to get some, I can make recommendations, which I think are good ones because I've been selling this over the years. I just don't do it now, except through this channel. And I just want to let you know that if you need to do anything like this, I have all that information. And if you just need a blank or you just want to cut out your own pattern, because I do show you how to do that in the videos preceding this one, and then we just go marching on. So if you have basswood or some other wood, I recommend you not using pine, like I said before, because you get bad results from it and tends to splinter. This has a nice tight grain to basswood. The Tupelo is another good wood you could use too that a lot of people use. That's not made for knife carving. It's more for power carving. So I just want to, for those that may want to try it with a knife, you could carve this with a knife, but with Tupelo, it just rips rather than actually cuts. And at least my experience, that is, there may be some knife carvers out there that have fine results with it. So, it's to each his own. But I've been using basswood over the years. So if you need any of this, you can contact me through my email address, which is Rauscher, Rauscher, Frank, Frank, 7 @gmail.com. And if you didn't get that, in the description of this video is my email address as well. And if you ever have any questions, please put comments, negative or positive. I'm going to try to answer as many as I can in hopes that I satisfy you. And I'll try to give you my point of view on how to do these. I'm not the end all on doing birds. I'm trying to get you off the ground. And I think I'm giving you enough information and detail that if competitively, if you were to compete, you'd be in the range of doing okay, I would think. If you're really going for big competitions, you really got to put a lot more time and effort and get everything specifically down, which I'm not trying to teach you that's it's to the nth degree, and I really don't want to get into that. I'm just trying to get you the basics, and I'm teaching you my method, but be open to everybody else. I'm just scratching the surface. You put all the information together you get from everybody, and you come up with your own method of doing this, okay? I try to show you the way I approach it. As I said in a previous video, some people have said that, well, the birds are very smooth and we lift a lot of feathers, or at least show a lot of feathers, which in reality you don't see on a real bird, but it gives some definition of feathers. We sort of exaggerate a little bit. And I take license in doing that. And I just want to let you know that it's not something where I'm going out of my way just to come up with something. This is my rendition of it. These are pretty accurate. These are to scale for what I know. And I build these birds a certain way. So I'm not saying that you can't come up with different things. One thing about birds is some are fatter, some are thinner, just like humans. And I want you to know that. When I had done a cardinal before, I had done one that was real fluffed up because it was a winter scene, and I actually had it snow in the branches and what have you and stuff like that. So I fluffed them up and I made them fatter. And that's what birds do in the wintertime. So I try to give that as another idea on how to present a bird, okay? And we try to do it to the best I can do. And there are people that do fantastic work that make me look like I'm standing still, but I'm trying to get you competitive, okay? So keep that in mind. And if you enjoy what you see on this video, I would ask you to give me a thumbs up. And if you have any friends or anybody that's interested, I have several birds I do and some animals, and I'll probably do some more animals down the road. If you can pass my information on, I'd appreciate that too. That greatly helps me in my channel, okay? So I appreciate that. And bear with me. I'm going to move the camera down. We are going to start marking this out, and we'll proceed on by marking the bird up with feathers. Okay, we're back again. I'm going to give you some numbers. I don't know how far we're going to get. I think what I'll do is I'll concentrate on the head as far as markings and the mantle. And then maybe on the next video, we'll get into the primaries, secondaries, and tertiaries, and so on. So bear with me here, but what we're going to do is try to frame out what needs to be marked out. So the first thing I'm going to give you as a measurement, and this could be a lay down dimension, from the tail up on the center line here. I want you to measure. This is a lay down with the ruler laid down. Come up right here, and that is going to be 3 5/8. And one thing I want to do is a correction for those who may have gotten the kits already. I've noticed that I think I had 3.5 millimeters for the width of the beak, and that's a mistake. It's 3/16 on either side. So it's more correct, okay? And that is a correction that needs to be made by anybody that had gotten my kits ahead of time. So I just want to let you know that if there is a correction to be made along the way, I'm going to try to identify it so you don't get into a problem. And as I was showing before, when we were trying to reduce the size of the beak, you're coming from the center out to the corner here, should be 3/16 and 3/16. Now, what am I doing here? I'm sorry. I'm doing it again. It's 3/16. I wrote down there 3 and 1/16, and that's not right. It's 3/16. Sorry about that. Boy, I'm getting delusional as we go here. It's 3/16 on one side, and it's 3/16 on the other. And what I put down originally, I think, was like 3.5 millimeters. And that's not right neither, okay? So at least I think this is closer. So for those who are doing millimeters, let me give you a measurement here. I think it comes out to maybe 6 millimeters to the right and 6 millimeters to the left in here, okay? This is a little bit wider than what this drawing's showing, which I realize now. This is probably not the only thing that's not the scale. Everything else is pretty much, you can take it as gospel, okay? Until I find another mistake. So here's what I'm going to try to do here. Like I said, I took a measurement up, laying the ruler down 3 5/8, and I put a dot right on the center line. And then to establish another measurement, I want you to come from the end of the tail up 1 1/16, and that's on the lay down. You lay your ruler right down and then put a dot right there. Okay, so we have that established. What this is right here, just to let you know, is this mantle, which is this area right in here. I'm going to shade this just so you can see this somewhat. This is the mantle. The whole mantle is all the way up into here, but it comes here and it comes over here. Okay, I don't want to darken this too much, but that's that point right there. Okay, now we want to establish the boundary of these feathers to where they start and stop. Then everything builds off after that. But we first get this initial one in here, which is right there, okay? Now, when it would be like up here in this view, which is the profile view, and then it swings down. Now, I show a lot of feathers up in here, but I really didn't show all the ones that grow off of those up in here. I left that barren, but I gave you what a grouping of them would look like here. So bear with me as we go, but what this mantle does, it sweeps down and it ends up starting or ending right there on as it sweeps down, and you can't see it here, but you see it down here. So what I'm going to establish is this point right here, and I'm going to show you how we do that. You have this tail flattened in here, and I'm going to ask you to get your ruler right up against the straightaway of that and follow it up. This is the best way, I feel as though it'll get you there. I'm going to ask you to get your ruler to 3 3/8 of an inch right to the end of the tail, following that straightaway. I'm going to ask you to come up here and put a dot, or what you can do is run a light line up to that point. So that is going to be right there, okay? Now, at that point, I'm going to ask you to hold this bird so that if you measure straight down from that point, 5/16 down, you're going to end up with a dot just below it. So it's here, straight down to here, okay? So you're from the straightaway on the underneath side of the tail up, it's 3 5/8. You put a dot there. From where that dot is, coming straight down, you measure 5/16 down and put a dot right there below that, okay? That is the end of the mantle, right there. So what we're going to do, and I'm going to show you, I sort of put a little bit of line work in here so I can show you how I did it. I'm going to come off of this dot on the back, and I'm going to slightly roll it around, and from that point that we just established here, I'm going to come up like this and join up. So I'm going to give you another dimension on this arc just to see if this will help you any. I'm going to come up, we'll say 1/4 of an inch up from that dot, just to see if you're in the ballpark here. And I put a dot right there, okay? I'm going to get a ruler that's flexible, and I'm going to ask you to get an inch mark on that dot and then bend it down, and it should come up to an inch. So I'm going to come over here and put a dot right there. So 1/4 of an inch up and a wraparound from here, bending the ruler down to here, it should be 1 inch, okay? So you're going to go through this dot, you're arcing, you're going to go through that 1 inch mark that's from here to here, and then you're going to come on down and finish up down to there, okay? Then I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side, okay? We measure up, and I measure up 3 5/8, or 3/8, excuse me. I'm going to measure up 3, and I'm getting it, trying to get it. Let me move my sheet out here because this mat will steady it more so than me. So I get my ruler to the end of here, and I measure up straight up, following that ruler edge, 3 3/16, and I put the dot right there, okay? Then I'm going to measure down 5/16, okay? And I put a dot right there, all right? So then I could do the same thing over here. I can come over 1/4 of an inch up, get a wraparound dimension like this, where you can bend the ruler down and around. From here over 1 inch, I put a dot. So I come in here, I roll this through that one. I do this slightly in the beginning, so you may have to change it. And then I come back to here. Now that I got that established, and you look at it, and it looks symmetrical. That's one thing you gotta definitely make sure that once I get that, then I come in and I heavy that. That is my mantle line, which is this whole thing right here. And it's this right in here. This is your mantle from here up to the head. Okay, then I'll heavy that up so I have that established. All right. Now, the other thing we want to establish is we have a line here for the wing that is coming down and around, and I'm going to do it as best I can on this as far as how I determine how to get this arc in here. And I'm going to do it like this. I came in on my drawing, and what I did is, if I got a surface here here's the point that we're shooting for right there, I came out from here on a perpendicular line to this surface. I know it's rolling, but I'm trying to get it look like it's perpendicular going straight up. So I shot a line from the outside of the bird coming up right to that point, okay? And it's going through that mantle point right there. So in essence, I come out and I try to do the same thing up here. I'm just going to come in. I'm going to do this one. And I got that established, okay? Now, I come down and I measure a 1/2 inch as the crow flies from this point to that point. So I get a 1/2 inch, and that touches from here to here on this arc. It's a 1/2 inch from here to here. Once I get that dot right there, then I do another perpendicular line right up to that, and it comes out past the edge of the belly here. Then I do it again. I come down another 1/2 inch, and I got a spot there. I'm going to draw from the outside in a perpendicular line going up. Then I do it again, another 1/2 inch from point to point. This is on this pattern now, going up like that. And then I do another 1/2 inch, okay, which is right to here, and I take it out. Now, if I measure the distance from the outside edge to that dot, it should be a 1/2 inch, okay? And then if I measured this one, it's a 1/2 inch. So I put a 1/2 inch here. This is just to remind me. I put a 1/2 inch here. Then when I measure this one, it's 7/16 from the outside edge of the belly into that wing. And then up in here, it's about 1/8 of an inch. So I measure from here to here, and it's 1/8. And then when I measured from the outside edge to that wing here, that's a 1/16, 1/16, okay? So I have these measurements and I have these outside points. So here's what I do. I line up my bird, and I know this ain't the easiest one, but I'm trying to get you to establish how you can nail this down. It's I don't know if there's probably an easier way, but this is what I'm doing right now. From where this line is here, I drive a line in to there. I drive another line, and this is using this outside one as my marker, and I shoot this up. And then I got another one that sticks out here, and I shoot this one up. I don't know how well you see this. And then this one is here, and this one is here. Okay? So here's what I have. I have a 1/2 inch. If I hold this in profile, now to get profile, that means this tail is straight up and down. If it's tilted this way or that way, it's not in profile. So you get this tail so it's straight up and down, especially on the inside edge here. And once you get that position, then I want you to measure from the belly in, just to verify that our location is a 1/2 inch in, right where we started. And that's where this mantle ended, right there. Now, for our next one down, it's another 1/2 inch. So I'm looking straight down now. I'm not rolling it. I'm not trying to get a wrap around. I'm just trying to get to this edge out here and measure in profile. Now, you got to get this straight up and down. And if I measure in, I'm coming right there, okay? Then I come down here on the next one, and I'm measuring in 7/16, and I put a dot here. So it's from this outside. I know it's out in space here, but it's this edge out here as you're looking straight down. And then I come down to this one, and again, you got to make sure that this end back here is straight up and down. And I come out here, and I get the belly, and this comes up to this line here, and it's 1/8 of an inch, and let's see, I'm not there yet. There it is, 1/8 of an inch, and I get a dot right there. And then the last one is from the outside edge to this line here, which you can hardly see, which is right here. If I measure that from the outside edge in, it's 1/16. So that 1/16 from this outside edge coming up, and I put a dot. Okay. Now I got all these dots, boop, 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 boop. And here's what I want to do. I want to make an arc that comes around. So I'm going to start from here. I'm going from dot to dot to dot. And then this one right here. Okay. And then the last dot is I want to swing this up so it arcs right on up to that dot we measured 1/16 in here. So this is going to pivot from here, and you're going to swing that arc around right to that point. So this whole line right here is now this. And you could sort of superimpose it over that just to see if it's in the ballpark, okay? Now that we did that, then we got to do the same thing on the other side. Now, you're saying, oh, well, this view is only facing this side. We don't have it going that way. Well, you do in a sense. Let's see if I did it on another sheet here. Yeah, I did. So this is the same sheet. I flip it over, and what I did is I held this up and I drew the outline of the bird, and you can see through this. I don't know if I put a light underneath here, you can actually transfer what's on this side to this side, and I got that around, and I made an outline of the bird, and then I came in and I did exactly the same thing. I came in from those points, and you establish the same thing. You got a 1/2 inch from here to here, and a 1/2 inch from here to here, and here to here, and here to here. And the spacing between here and here is a 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch between here and here, 7/16 from here to here. And then this is 1/8 of an inch between here and here, and a 1/16 back here. And then this swings up to that 1 1/16 on the middle of your tail, okay? That's how you can get this. And if need be, what you can do is lay this onto a piece of glass or lay this up to a window and trace out this on the other side here, okay? And that's how you can get that side. And what you do is you can lay your line work up like you have here onto it. And I already did this ahead of time. And I have this coming down like this over here, coming around, shooting up here, all the way up to here, and up to here. So it's the exact same thing. Now, what you want to do too is make sure, even with the mantle and even with this, that it looks the same on both sides. And you could turn it over on the belly and look down the center line to see that it's balanced, that you have it in the same relative position from one side to the other. This is critical because this is shaping your wing. And this is my way of handling that so that you can get the proper location for this this bird's wing. Okay, so we have the wing established in here, and that's one thing I really want to try to do on this right now, is to have this established, this here and here. Now, I'm going to go to the head a little bit as far as just mapping out some things that I want you to do as far as when we go to detail this head. We have the center line, which should be going right through the beak, right through the head, coming back, okay? And you also want that coming right on through the beak, straight down, and you have that center line going down into the throat area here, okay? And that should all be in the same plane. If you lay your ruler in and you look down the edge, it should be like a slice right on through, okay? And that's how you establish that center line. Now, if you look at my drawing here, I've indicated there's like some rows in here that are occurring, and I'm going to show you how I put these feathers in. Now, if you really look at the goldfinch, there's only strata lines through here. I sort of add some of these scalloped feathers. If you guys just want to texture it straight on, that's fine. I will do it beyond this point as we get down into the mantle area here. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that. I'm going to bring this finished bird in. I did these scalloped feathers in this dark area that you don't really see because it blends in. And once you paint it, you really don't see them that much, but I put them in. And then beyond this dark area, I texture it with straight line work down to where the mantle sort of starts, and then it comes down into here. So, and I also do it through the cheek area and through the breast area here too. So I'm going to show you at least the markings that I do in the head area. And that's these here that I've indicated. I have these up here. So this is how I do it. If you want to do it, you can do it as straight line work, but I find I like to add a little more pizzazz to it. So I'm going to come from the front here and draw a line very lightly, coming back to about there. And then I'm going to do it on the other side. I'm trying to do these same distance across, okay? From the center out, that is. Now, I'm going to also come out here a similar distance of this overall width and put another line. Then I'm going to come one more and I'm going to get another line like this, okay? So I have, here's the center. I come out just a little bit, and it widens as I go out, and I stop it here. And then I come to the next one, and that may be about 1/8 of an inch wide here, and maybe a 1/16 back here. And then I do the same thing again here. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to start about a 1/16 over here, and I'm going to get about 1/8 of an inch wide, and I stop right about there. And it's, if you're looking for a distance back, I'm going to say, let's see, about 3/4 of an inch from where the beak starts. So if you go from the tip of the beak back to here, it's right about where I stopped, okay? It's about, as the crow flies, from there back about here, okay? And then I'll do one more because I'm trying to do the same on both sides. I come into here and I'm 16th down here and an 8th back here, and I stop right there. Now, here's what I want to do. This first grouping is, I'm going to start these C's, is what I call them. I'm going to come in with the C, and I'm going to mark the C right around through there, and it's small. Then I'm going to come back a little bit further and put another one. Then I'm going to come back a little bit further, put another one. And you know, if you notice, I get a little bit longer on each one. I'm lengthening them. Then I come around, and then I'll do another one. And then I'll get the last one right in here like that, okay? So they're like piggybacking off of each other. Now I'm going to do the same thing up here. I'm going to come up. I got a little tiny one in there. I'm not trying to do da-da-da-da-da-da. I'm not trying to loop them. I'm just taking a spacing, and if they happen to coincide with the ones you just had next to you, that may be by accident. I'm not trying to keep each one in line with each other. In fact, I'd rather not. So there's my second one. Then I'm going to do my third one right here. And sometimes I'll just foreshorten one so that they don't line up together with the same length, just to be different, just like that. Okay, now we'll do it on this side. So we got the center is actually straddling both sides of the center line here. The second one's on its own, and the third one's on its own within those line works. So I'm going to get this little one down in here. I'm going to put this one in here, straddle this, there, a little bit longer, and right there. Then I got one more to go here. I'll get this down close to the beak, there, 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 and get one more in there, okay, like that. Now, let me check with my original here. Yeah, pretty much where I want to be. Okay, now that I got these in, I'm going to show you how I want to treat these as far as burning goes, okay? So I'm going to get my optivisor, which is my magnifiers, these guys here, and I'm going to get my burning pen, and I'm going to, what I usually run my machine on is about a 6, but sometimes I back that off depending on how hot it gets, because different machines have different temperatures. I'm going to try to come in on the first one I did here, and I'm going to burn deep on the leading edge and pull as I, let me get a piece of wood here. This is what I'm doing. This is an exploded view of what I'm doing. These are real tiny, but what's happening here, and I'll draw a couple more just to show you how I do this. I'm drawing these feathers in here, but in reality, they're like this tiny, okay? And you really gotta get in there, and they're piggybacking off of each other. So they're not as big as these, but I'm doing an exploded view. What I try to do, this whole thing in front, this is the C that I drew. This is the leading edge up here. This, and this. Anything but the C is the leading edge. So to make it work, I stroke down and stroke down. I'm not trying to do the whole length. I'm trying to depress the front end. Now, I'm going to do this on a 45 degree, well, not a 45, on a fan effect. So I'm going to try to keep these as much as I can. Now I go in and I try to burn deep, because as soon as you touch it, that's the hottest part of the flame, of the pen, is when you first touch it. And I try, what I'm actually doing is trying to depress the feather that's in front, so it looks like that is raised, and then I keep on moving back. And when that's half of it. Then I go to the other half, and I come out, and I'm fanning this way, okay? And I'm trying to get everything to that angle right through there. And you can drag your pen a little faster through the rest of it if you're trying to get some burning that you don't think took place. But you don't need to burn heavy. What you're trying to do is depress all of this area up in front here. And if you miss the spot, you can always go back, as long as you're keeping that angle, okay? So that's what I want you to do, but we're doing this in miniature, so watch me here. This gets really in tight. So for the first feather, and I try to steady myself. I got my finger resting here. It's not easy, or you get it down on something that you're comfortable, that you're balanced, because you got to roll this and at the same time be steady with it. And it takes a little bit of patience too. So I'm going to come in right up to the beak, and I'm going to stroke in and do that first feather right up to the beak edge, but not on the beak. Then I'm doing the second feather, and I hope I'm in range here. There's the next one I do down the center. And you really need, this one is a P12, or you can do a P5. These are the Optima pens, and they're excellent. If you have a real pointy one, like a spear shape one, it's ideal, because that'll give you that spear shape. This is like a rounded heel, which is another one that's good for doing this too. So I come back, and I'm trying to depress all along that leading edge. Okay, and then I do the next one. Okay, then I do the next one. Maybe I missed the spot here. Go back on it. Then I'll do the next one. And if you get a spacing in there and you miss the spot, go back over it. As long as you're watching your angle, you're fanning. So as it changes, it gives you a real neat look. Then I'll do the last one here. Come down the middle, fan to the left. Hope you can see this well. And then I fan to the right. And I like this technique. It does get lost in this bird, in the black of it. Now I'm going to do the next row here, and that's going to be right up against that edge on the beak, but I'm not going on the beak. It's that raised section that we left. Remember, we had a lip just before you get to the beak. We're only burning in that area, which is the feathered area. So you really got to get your point down in there. And if you miss a spot, go back over it, you know. But you're not trying to drag the pen all the way out. If you look real closely, that's detailed all the way out, even though it doesn't look like it's burned all the way out. It's the burn needs to be that front edge. As you lift, as you come out, it still will texture the rest of the feather. It's sort of an act. Now, I'm from classes I ran before, I make it look easy. I know that. I've been doing this too long. And you need to practice this, okay? This is not something that just happens. If it is, you're lucky, okay? You got to sort of practice this on a piece of wood like I showed you before. And don't be afraid. You don't want to get a real hot tip, you know. That's why I'm trying to give you a number to work from. But I can't say that all burners work to that same number. You got to find that what works for you, okay? There's that, okay? And then I'm going to come up here and do this third one. And I get it right up to the beak line. And then I'm always fanning. I take, first shot is the middle of the feather. At least I try. And then, if you notice, I don't burn all the way down. It's like a flick once you get the act of it. And it does texture the rest of the feathers. And you have to roll with the, you know, because your piece is rolling anyway. It's a rounded head up there. You want to try to get this as close as you can. Sometimes when you take a stab, you don't get it all. Go back and do it again, you know. Just come back in and hit it. But don't linger all day on that spot, or you'll start burning a hole down through there. And it takes a little bit of time to develop this. And once you get it, boy, it really, I think it enhances the look. So that's half of it. Now I'm going to do the other two. See if we can't wrap this thing up on this. These little ones are real testy. When you go to do the mantle, you're going to be doing similar things, but it's bigger feathers. You don't drive yourself nuts as much as you do with these little ones. And I just, I think with some birds, these stand out more, okay, these head feathers. Like I said, where somebody has indicated that birds are really very smooth and everything else, that's true. You can't differentiate these feathers like you do on a real bird. The real bird is very smooth, but we're sort of enhancing the look, okay? We're still painting it to look the same. We're carving it to look like the same bird, but we have different ways of showing the feathers, that's all. And that's what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to show you that. For those that don't want to do this, that's fine too. You could just, what we do later on in here, I'm going to show you how I detail the face. I'll show you that technique, and you can do that for the whole head too if you don't want to get into this burning of the feathers here. So I will show you that as well. So you have a choice. So follow the videos, and I believe I will do it on the next video because I try to make these videos to a certain time, and I hate to say, but my last video was really lengthy, only because I'm trying to show you a complete area, and or what I'm trying to get the message across, and I hope I'm not overloading you with a time, a lengthy video. I don't mean to do that, but it's just the nature of how much I want to show you at one time. I'm going to do this burning here, and then I'm going to stop this for this point, and then I'm going to show you how we'll do the mantle and with the rest of the face here, so that you can get a feeling for how the rest of this gets burnt or textured. And we're going to do a couple different things in there. So if you could get that much done, and you can see it really starts coming together, I'm going to show you the rest of it on the next video, how to texture the head and to get the mantle feathers in, and then we'll start building this, and we're going to move our way down, and that's the way I approach it. We do have the framework. The mantle is going to be in here, and I'll give you the feathers layouts for that. Then we'll probably do the primaries, secondaries, tertiaries in here, and then we do the tail, okay? And this isn't as tedious as maybe the owl I did, which is really lengthy. So I hope you got something out of this one. And if, like I said, you got a choice. You don't have to do this. And let me bring in the example that I'm going to try to show you here. I have textured this roughly with stoning, and I'm doing that through the head here. You can see the cheek area has these strata lines coming through, and if you want to do that for the top of the head and not do this burn routine, this type of technique for the burning, which I did in the front end here, you could do this whole head with these lines like this, and that's up to you. But you'll see in the mantle here, I have some feathering that's shadowing through, and that is going to be the oversized ones of these in this mantle area, and I'll show you how to put them in on the next go around, and we'll get the mantle going, and then we'll do the primaries, secondaries, and so on, and we'll just move our way down. So I'll show you the techniques as we go. I hope you got something out of this one. If you did, I'd ask you to give me a thumbs up on this, and if you also would subscribe to my channel, I'd appreciate that greatly. And if you have any friends that may be interested in doing birds and what have you, I have a lot of videos out there, and it takes you from the first one to the end, and I paint them and everything else and mount them. I show you how to make the feet and the whole thing. A lot of people that get the kits have the feet already, they're castings, and I'll show you how to make them at some time. I do have some videos out there that show you how to make feet. So there's a lot of techniques. I also teach like a wood burning technique for doing flat artwork. Like this is on a block of wood, but not that you want to do this feathering as a drawing, but you can make drawings and then wood burn them, and I show you how to the technique for making a piece of wood look like it's rolling or something like that, or making weeds. I do, if you look into my videos, you will see the techniques for wood burning. You'll also see techniques for texturing. You also see it for making feet. So, and there's ways of doing it with copper wire and so on, which is what I show you, and how we solder them in a whole bit. So, hope you got something out of this one. If you did, I'd ask you to give me a thumbs up again and subscribe to my channel, and then we will get you on the next video. We'll start the mantle. Thanks again. See you in the next one.